It's too loud when I snowblow your sidewalk? Okay. I have a sweet snowblower and I love to help out my neighbors by doing the whole block. I'm that guy. After a moderate snow a few years, 6 inches, my neighbor told me that he's very sensitive to noise and not to snow blow in front of his house, so, later that same winter we got 17 inches. I got every house on the block front and back except for his. Even better, he was out of town, the weather warmed slightly for an afternoon then dropped again, so his 17 inches of snow became a wall-to-wall glacier. I live in Wisconsin. This is how we entertain ourselves in the winter. Edit. Wow. Thought I was just sharing a little story. Thanks for all the interest. Here is a little more. 1. He was not medically sensitive to sound. If he was, he would have said so and I would have respected that. I often saw him outside listening to the brewers on a loud radio as he did yard work, with municipal trucks and ambulances etc. rolling by. Also, it was late morning. This is a guy who returned a plate of cookies because he was upset that we didn't know that he thinks sugar is evil. He yelled at kids for chalk drawings on the sidewalk. Total dick. 2. We didn't speak often and he never mentioned the ice wall. I do not have any photos. Unfortunately. It was hilarious. Even sat on the edge of it and had a beer with my other neighbor. 3. He moved to Iowa a year or so later. How's this for passive-aggressive? Thank God he moved because Iowa might be just nice enough to handle him. Is it malicious compliance, just malicious, or just compliance? I guess that's up to you.
Now to the comments. If you live in Wisconsin, or a similar state, that is just the price of admission. It's not like mowing your lawn on a Saturday. Snow blowing or plowing occurs when it needs to happen. Also, in Wisconsin, the city gives us 24 hours to clear snow before they do it for us, and charge a pretty penny for doing so, plus typically I clear out my driveway and the corner before the plow comes, so I end up having to do it twice. Edit, clarified that this isn't free. OMFG, what is wrong with this guy? Our neighbor got a new snowblower a couple years ago and we came home from work after a big storm to find him snow blowing our driveway. He apologized and said he was having so much fun he got a little carried away. We told him he is welcome to continue getting carried away and thanked him by bringing over baked goods and helping him and his wife bag leaves the following spring and fall, and ever since then we have a nice yard work exchange going on.
This guy here knows how to neighbor.
And that's when good neighbors become good friends. I live in a place where 6 of snow is not a big deal, it happens frequently enough. Not everyone has a snowblower, my family included, we have always just used shovels. My neighbor with the snowblowers is a godsend on heavy snow days. I don't care if it's 6:30 a.m. or 11 p.m. I try to time my shoveling when he does his, and he lets me borrow his spare blower, which we usually team up and get the whole sidewalk for the cul-de-sac. At least you tried to be a good neighbor.
Years ago, my neighbor and I used to shovel out our cul-de-sac while the husbands were at work. She unfortunately died. Cancer sucks. We go new less friendly neighbors. Now my husband does it with a snow blower.
Duck cancer. Come on now, I've seen the videos. You guys also race out houses in the winter.
It's a crappy spectacle. We're easily amused by shitty fun times.
This pun was corny. Just got around 8 inches snow yesterday here. I broke a shear pin after doing about half of my driveway. By the time I got my snowblower back in my garage to put a new shear pin in, my neighbor was already over, with his much nicer snowblower, finishing my driveway for me. Told him I have mine fixed so he could stop, but he said to not worry about it and he'll be done in a few minutes. I need to figure out what type of beer he likes.
Man, I felt like shit when my shear pin broke a few years ago. Had about 6 to 8 inches and I did my sidewalk and drive. Went across the street to my elderly neighbors and did their side and drive. Next to them I saw a lady and her daughter out shoveling away, so I just kept it going. Did their side and drive. Then I crossed back across the street, thought my neighbor's drive and side who was capable, but when I got about 20 yards into it my shear pin broke. I didn't have another, I just quit. I felt like shit and I still crying about it.
Michigan here. I embrace no single possession, nor value any relationship, like my 3-stage snowblower. It is without question the coolest thing I will ever own or even consider owning. Self-propelled, heated grips, treads instead of wheels, headlights, and almost 400 cc's of absolute snow demolishing fury. There is nothing more satisfying than blasting a few thousand pounds of snow off of a city block for all of your neighbors. And the perks that come with it? Bottles of bourbon, fresh cookies and desserts, smoked chicken wings and sausages, never buying beer at neighborhood cookouts. God damn it, I love that snowblower.
Heated grips. I don't know if I've ever been more jealous in my life. Now I know what to look for when I'm buying my new snowblower when they go on sale in the spring.
Moved into a new house in the country with some really old neighbors, so when it snowed I used my tractor to clear their driveway as well as mine. After the third or fourth time the old man came out and wished I was doing it too deep and moving the gravel, which maybe I moved a couple, but it's impossible not to with gravel. Well, no problem you crotchety old coot, feel free to pay someone to do it. Been 2 years since and I just smile and wave while doing my driveway.
I see you've met either my dad or my brother. Sorry about that.
I live in a very small rural town with just 6 streets. I'm that guy also, and take care of all my elderly neighbors. One has cancer, one is almost 80 and can't walk well unassisted, and the other works long shifts at the hospital in the emergency room. 3 years I did it all by hand, but now that I need to have back surgery, 5 blown discs, I broke down and got a huge heavy-duty snowblower. Half a day is down to less than 2 hours.
You are also a good human.
Out of curiosity, what kind of snow blower do you have? Do you have straight pipes on it or something?
No OP, but I have a Craftsman that I had to get running again 1 year. Ever since, it's not like to start with its muffler on. The exhaust comes right out. No muffler, no pipe, nothing.
Straight pipe that sucker and make it growl. You could be landing a 747 as long as you were removing the snow. You'd get a thumbs up through the window and a gift card for your thoughtfulness. I like that you respected his sensitivity from out of town. You should cartoonishly tiptoe past his wall of ice when he gets back.
Why is everyone hating on his neighbor? For all we know he has legitimate reasons. Maybe he works night shifts, maybe he has mental health issues, or maybe he just likes the exercise of doing it himself. It's actually okay to respect someone's privacy and not hold a grudge against them for it.
My husband went to plow out the end of our neighbor's driveway. He got stuck. While waiting to get pulled out, our neighbor baked him cookies. Yay, Wisconsin. I can only wish my new neighbors would help with the snow. We have a shared drive and this is their first winter as neighbors. First snow they shoveled the snow into my drive and that did not go well for them. They got a snowblower after that snow and while I was out shoveling, they snowblowed the snow where I had to still shovel. That also didn't go well for them and now I have to buy a snowblower. Their driveway is maybe 40 foot long. Mine is 109 foot long. His car is going to be buried along with his shed he keeps the snowblower in. I ain't telling him a third time. I live in Boston. I'm a cripple. When it snows, some of the neighbors don't bother to do their sidewalks. When this happens, my choices are, stay home until it melts off, walk in the street when I get to that house because I can't make it over the ice their snow turned into with my cane, and hope I don't get hit by a car.
This reminds me of a certain law in ancient Rome. You were obligated to take care of the roads outside of your dwelling/property, maintaining them, keeping them clean. I'm surprised this isn't the case for sidewalks.
Oh, it is, some people just don't do it. Think about it, imagine you're 87 years old and live on the second floor, like my next door neighbor. You get most things delivered, and you leave the house once a month to go to the doctor, and your nephew helps you down the stairs and into the car, to make sure you don't have a fall. How are you going to go out and shovel the sidewalk several times a week? Also, you're on a fixed income, so you can't exactly afford to hire someone to come shovel it for you. How are you going to get it shoveled? Or me, I had a stroke a few years ago. I use a cane to walk. There are times when my balance isn't so great and I need to sit down for a while, and my circulation isn't perfect, so I need to not spend much time outside in the winter or I could lose fingers and toes. A brisk walk up the street to a car is fine. Standing around outside for an hour or two while shoveling isn't. When I came home from the hospital it was midwinter and I could barely stand up at all. How am I going to get it shoveled? Answer: my landlord got the upstairs neighbors to do it for me, but not everybody is friends with their landlord. The city is supposed to heavily fine people who don't shovel. In practice, if you rent you get fined, but the elderly people who have lived in the town forever and own their homes, and are most likely to be unable to shovel, don't get fined. So, if you're a relatively young person you have to freeze your ass off shoveling, but then you have to walk in the streets because you're the only person on your block that actually shoveled.